The next day, James acted normal. Coffee, a joke about the milk, a kiss on my shoulder. I kissed him back. And then I called a lawyer. I didn't file anything, just asked questions about property, joint accounts, marital disclosures. The lawyer was professional, but curious. "Is something wrong?" she asked. I told her no, and that was true, because nothing was wrong. Everything was finally becoming clear. That weekend, I confronted Marcus. Not James, Marcus. I waited outside his flat. He looked surprised, but not startled when he opened the door. "You know, stalking's a crime," he said. "So is emotional fraud," I replied. "But you seem to have a talent for both." He smirked. "To what do I owe the pleasure?" "I know you're meeting James." His smile didn't falter, but his eyes shifted. So why?" He leaned against the door frame. "Maybe I'm just curious how you both turned out. Maybe I like watching the world burn." I stared at him. Or maybe you were always the distraction. Maybe this whole thing was James's idea. The smirk vanished. He shut the door in my face, and I knew I was right. When I got home, James was making dinner. He smiled, said he missed me, asked about my day. I said nothing, just watched the way he chopped the garlic, fast, focused, like a man trying to keep his hands busy. I waited until he sat down. Then I asked, "Why did you meet with Marcus?" His fork stopped halfway to his mouth. "What?" "At the bar. I saw you." He blinked, set the fork down, wiped his mouth like we were in court. "I was just trying to get closure for both of us." "No," I said. "You were trying to win." He said nothing. This whole thing, marrying me, posting the photos, pretending to care, it wasn't about love, it was about leverage. "That's not fair. You wanted to beat him, not help me." Silence. "You used me." "So did he," James snapped. "But at least I stayed." I stood. You lingered. That's not the same as staying." He didn't follow me when I left. Didn't call, didn't text, and I didn't cry, because now I understood something. Revenge isn't about balance. It's about clarity. Marcus was cruel, but James was calculated. And I was finally done being the victim in other people's games. I didn't leave him that night, not officially. No suitcases or slammed doors, just silence. And silence, I've learned, is louder than rage. James stopped trying after that, or maybe he had never been trying at all, just acting. He still cooked, still cleaned, still played the part of the quiet husband in the background of my life. But I could feel the difference. He had withdrawn into himself, or maybe into whatever game he and Marcus had been playing behind my back. I started documenting everything. It wasn't paranoia, it was clarity. Emails, receipts, transfers. Anything that would explain why James had been so eager to step in after Marcus left me, and why Marcus had let him. What I found wasn't dramatic. It was worse. James hadn't stolen me from Marcus. Marcus had offered me an old email chain, archived, buried in an inbox James had once logged into on my laptop. It was dated 4 days after the failed wedding. Subject line, want her, take her. Marcus, if you think you can handle her, be my guest. She's exhausting, clingy, obsessed with closure. You always like the ones who cry anyway. Go ahead and play White Knight if it makes you feel better. James, she deserves better. And I'm not playing. Watch me. That was the moment, the night I stopped feeling hurt and started feeling something far colder. Clean rage. I went quiet again. Gave James exactly what he wanted. Peace. A peaceful wife. A peaceful home. A woman who had moved on. But I was writing a different ending now, and this time it would be mine. I started recording conversations, planting questions, asking about money, about Marcus, about that night at the bar. James, true to form, answered everything. Not because he trusted me, but because he believed he'd already won. People like James don't guard the walls once they think you've surrendered. I visited Marcus one last time. He opened the door, already annoyed. Didn't think I'd see you again. You won't after this. I held up a folder. Inside, copies of the emails, transcripts of James's confessions, financial statements showing Marcus paid off one of James's credit cards the same month he proposed to me. "Congratulations," I said. "You didn't just destroy me, you destroyed each other." He glanced through it, half impressed. "So what now? Divorce? Exposure?" "No," I said, "something better." I moved out 2 days later, left a note, short, no rage, no tears. "You said you stayed, but you didn't. You schemed. I'm not your weapon, and you're not my ending." I filed for annulment quietly, citing irreconcilable deceit. It wouldn't hold up in a headline, but it held up in court. And I sent both James and Marcus copies of the filing in matching envelopes. Closure, delivered cold. Then I vanished. No social media, no forwarding address, just gone. Because nothing haunts people like your absence after they thought they won. 3 months passed. I started over in a new city, new job, new name on the lease, no men, no plans, just space. Space to breathe, space to own my story. And then, one day, I got a letter, no return address. Inside, a wedding invitation, Marcus, to the same woman he'd been with at the deli that day, the one in my old coat. On the back, in faint pencil, "Guess I'm not the weak one after all." No signature, just the scratch of ego. I put it in the fire, watched the corners curl, the names blacken, the ink run. And I whispered, to no one in particular, "You were both weak. You just picked different masks." The truth is, I wasn't expecting peace. I moved cities for silence, but silence brings echoes. I thought I'd escape the ghosts, but I brought them with me. Not Marcus, not James, me. I rented a 1-bedroom flat above a bakery, the kind of place that smelled like warm flour at 5 a.m. It was soft, safe, small. I worked at a publishing house under a fake surname, not because I was hiding, but because I liked the idea of being unsearchable. No trail, no tags, just me. Most nights I walked, no music, no distractions, just the sound of my own steps and the occasional distant siren. One evening in late autumn, I passed a little cafe with glass walls and flickering lamps. Inside, I saw a couple laughing, and for a split second, I thought it was James. Same smile, same jaw, same lazy confidence in the way he held her gaze. I froze, but it wasn't him. Just a stranger with someone else's face. Still, I stood there, watching, not because I missed him, but because I didn't feel anything, and that scared me more. A week later, I received an email. The subject line, "Closure isn't silence." No name, no content, just an attachment.